It started so innocuously that I almost cannot trace the beginning. A credit card offer in the mail when I was 23, with a generous limit and a low introductory rate. I took it and told myself it was just for emergencies. The first emergency was a laptop that my old one could not reasonably wait to replace. The second was a flight home for a family occasion I could not afford that month. The third, fourth, and fifth emergencies blurred together into a pattern that I stopped examining closely, because examining it closely would have required admitting something I was not ready to admit. By the time I was 25, I had two credit cards with a combined balance of just under 2 lakh rupees, and a minimum payment obligation that was eating a painful portion of my monthly salary. The interest was accruing faster than I was reducing the principal. I understood, abstractly, that this was a problem. What I could not seem to do was address it directly, partly because addressing it directly meant first stopping the spending that was causing it, and the spending had become a kind of self-medication I had not fully acknowledged. Every time I felt the low-level stress of the debt, my instinct was to do something that briefly made me feel better, which often involved spending something. The thing I am most honest about now, looking back, is the shame. I was surrounded by people who seemed financially together friends, who talked about SIPs and savings goals and apartment deposits. And I was hiding a debt that felt like evidence of a personal failure I did not want anyone to see. I kept up appearances carefully. I suggested mid-range restaurants instead of expensive ones and said I was watching my spending, which was technically true. I deflected conversations about money with jokes. The secrecy was exhausting in a way the debt itself was not. The change came at 26 when I finally told my older cousin, Deepa, the full picture. She was the safest person I could think of, financially savvy, non-judgmental, and far enough outside my immediate social circle that confession felt lower stakes. She did not react with shock or disappointment. She asked me to send her a spreadsheet of what I owed, to who, at what interest rates. We spent 2 hours on a video call building a repayment plan. It was methodical and unglamorous, and the most useful 2 hours I had spent in years. The debt took 18 months to clear. I cut up one card, reduced the limit on the other, and made a rule that I only used it for things I already had the money for in my account. The financial recovery was real. But the more lasting lesson was about secrecy and shame about the enormous additional cost of carrying something alone that other people might actually help you carry if you let them.